I'm that girl who wants to share with you the experience of having those two sessions yesterday that were public. And so it was fascinating that certain influencers came into the session to, with much love, remind us of their body of work. Now, I don't think that they want to come back into sessions and be channeled by me, but they want us all to remember their own work. They spent their whole lifetimes nearly dedicated to helping humanity. And so, doing one channeling of them independently is not going to give their work justice, right? So part of us doing our own inner work and empowering ourselves to grow is doing our own research and finding our own bigger perspectives that really speak to us, work for us, and expand upon. Now, when those big energy beings came in to remind us all that they've already helped humanity, we just need to want to hear their information and apply the information to grow. And it feels like we've had many beings who have had the same sort of life purpose and mission to be able to deliver these profound messages, these epiphanies, this profound wisdom for us all to be independently responsible for our growth. And I was trying to get this saying out yesterday. We can't be taught to do our inner work. We really can't. We have to find it within ourselves. We have to be motivated to want to learn this ourselves. And so I guess there is that saying, when you're ready to be taught, the teacher will appear. Oh, I think I butchered that one. But lots of people thinking that the universe is just going to come flying to my door and give me all the keys of the answers of what I'm seeking, and I don't have to do anything. It's all just going to come to me, right? I'm just going to magnetize all of this profound wisdom and insight, and people are just going to do my inner work for us. And it doesn't quite work like that. We actually actively have to be open and seeking out information. We have to keep using our free will and asking the universe, what is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? Asking questions. They will answer you. But if we're just not even using our free will to want to find the information that we are seeking, it may be because you're afraid that there may be some blocks or something else that's going on for you that you're not quite ready to face or look at or explore or unpack. And this is a fantastic time to unpack lots of inner work, isn't it? Super fast, super easy. And as we are noticing all this density that's just been purged from a lot of people's energy fields, it definitely does feel thick with density, and we know it's not ours. And so, we can jump onto that density bandwagon, feel the density, see, oh, what wrinkles of inner work is there for me in that density? Oh, wow, here, X, Y, and Z. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to release it. I'm going to let it go, and all will be well, right? That's how we literally do our own inner work at this point, is acknowledging, facing our fears, going into certain densities, feeling into what are my feelings? What are my emotions? What's going on for me? It's a fantastic time, right? So we all have to be responsible for our mindsets. We have to be responsible for our bodies, and we have to be responsible for what we're comfortable with, right? And we know what's right for us. They're saying, what helped you on your mission, on your journey to awaken? What were the steps for you? Now, if you can go back and think about what the steps were for you, potentially you resharing those steps to others may not be exactly their own stepping path, right? But we have this kind of assumption, it worked for me, so it has to work for everybody else. And it's not quite sort of true for everyone, is it? So I do know that they were saying, find their information, find their quotes, inspire everyone, share really uplifting, thought-provoking, self-empowering quotes, because there's just abundance of it everywhere. We don't have to reinvent the wheel and try to find something clever and inspirational to find for ourselves to share if we don't have it within us, right? But they're trying to say, use us, use our names, use our leverages of information. They are respected, they say. Very firmly, we are respected, and so, and rightfully so, because they did all of the work. They put in all of the work. And a lot of people assume that these people just had rich and famous lifestyles, no hardships, everything was fantastically just given to them on a platter. And they were very firm. They stayed with me yesterday quite a lot, and we got to experience them sharing with me some of their real big challenges, feeling isolated, misunderstood, alone, as they are trying to understand their own calling and trying to reach out to others to tell them, I feel like I need to write a book, or I've got this sense. And, and they were no one at some point, right? They were unknown. They had this profound calling, and they just didn't know what it was. And so they had to learn themselves how to empower themselves. For some of them, it was easier than others, but they all had sort of their own personal challenges that they had to overcome. And it felt like yesterday they came into the physical bodies to just be able to address their own challenges. And it's kind of like a life review, but they came back into the body to feel it. They felt a whole range of emotions. They felt so heartbroken that even their best work, their best wisdom, their best advice was not taken. Those seeds were not taken, and for many people, not sprouted upon and not like nurtured and growing. It was like, oh, cute, I got this book. What the F do I do with it? I'll shelve it. Oh yeah, Louise, hey, yeah, I've got a book. Having books doesn't mean you have been able to apply the information, right? And we know that with Dolores Cannon. A lot of people have read her books, which are very solid. When you actually read The 3 Ways of Volunteers and The New Earth, unbeknownst to her truly, what they were trying to point at was if it didn't work out here, how it was supposed to, other things would be taken into place, and there'd be new options. And when you just prior to the sections where she's starting to talk about the shift being to new earth here on this planet, there was some big chapters prior about evacuating planets. Not a coincidence, my friends, not a coincidence. So if you're open to hearing what she's telling you and what they're trying to reflect upon you and to press upon you, I found this fantastic quote from Dolores, which was, sort of hurry up. We've got shit to do. You got a mission, get on with it. Be of service and purpose here. Love that, right? Wonder why I would love that. And it's very true, very true. But she sort of said that in 2011 or 2008. So actually it was 2011 quote, because that was the 3 Waves of Volunteers in the New Earth was, 11 years ago, published 11 years ago. And we know she got lots more information that hasn't been shared. So there's that. And that's why it's good to have your own sessions to explore what next after 2011 information, right? We know we're hearing so much stuff unfolding and evolving as they're still trying to get humanity's attention to drop their density and to be willing enough to just this novelty of loving themselves, empowering themselves, not being distracted with disinformation, and actually being comfortable with their truth, which may not be the popular truth, but truly within themselves. And then when they're so brave enough and they've empowered themselves so much at that point, to then be able to share it with others and find like-minded friends. And potentially you have these assumptions your friends are not awake. And we know that people have been profoundly awoken. We know people can listen to one of our sessions that we've posted on Conversations with Heaven on Earth and be profoundly activated. So we can't hold back. If we feel like we want to share something with someone, be prompted to do it. Don't think, oh no, they're not ready for that. Oh no, they still eat bread and gluten, and they still eat meat, whatever. If we're still judging people not being ready to be activated, listening to these sessions, that's your inner work, okay? Because we have to be open that and this is a gift. We're sharing this. We are getting prompted. If we're getting prompted to share people this information, it may not be today they will listen to it, but potentially when they're ready and called for. Remember, their guides and teams are prompting them constantly also to find the bigger information. So potentially they've asked for, what is going on here, right? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on here? What were those dreams about blah, 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 right? It's very big, important times. So we mustn't assume that people are not ready to hear these sessions, because they activate people. So what you're trying to do is hold back and handbrake your friends because you're judging them still. We can't judge people anymore like that, and we have to honor all our senses. So really focus on what are you doing and why. What is your agenda? Are you still holding back your truth because you think you're going to be judged? Really be responsible for why you do things. I see a lot of people just doing things for praise, recognition, self-ego, inflated nonsense, blah, 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 right? And that's kind of a shame, because it means that they are distracting themselves from doing their own inner work to empower themselves, instead of constantly seeking approval from others, confirmation from others, all of that sort of stuff, right? To really be empowered by ourselves, we have to empower ourselves, right? That's the hard part. It also seems like some people are jumping to these conclusions that just because your husbands or partners are not aware of this information, or cannot stand listening to the information, and they're not interested in it, blah, 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 that is not because they're dum-dums, or it's not because they're going to just, never evolve. What if their life contract is to empower you to really go within yourself and trust yourself, and stop having other people's opinions to support you? We're all on this kind of own individual awakening journey, right? While it's great to have friends, we actually have to have a basis of self, a trust of self. And so when we're constantly seeking confirmation of what we think and feel from others, we're sort of missing the point, right? Then we're giving our power away, and potentially everyone's at their own different levels. And so while we want to empower everyone around us, we must be able to empower ourselves. So what if those husbands or those wives that aren't interested in listening about these things to come, it doesn't mean that they're not advanced souls. You're really missing the point if you are still judging them for their reactions and what they're trying to teach you. So it seems like a lot of people assume if they don't listen to these sessions, they can't shift to the new earth then. It's not the case at all. They could be so comfortable just not being awoken to the truths, because they just want to focus on just being stable emotionally and just going with the flow, right? They don't want to feel into the highs. They don't want to feel into the lows. They're just here being stable. And that is profound. That is really profound. So we all have our own individual journeys, and often those what we may think is unawakened, because they don't know about the true, what the purpose of the full awakening is and what's happening. Those people usually are in our lives to ground us. They're not here to, they're triggering us to really empower ourselves to grow, that's for sure. But we misunderstand it, because we want them to be like for like buddies. And so we just have this assumption that, they're not evolved, when, that's a lazy assumption. And so we must be able to just kind of catch ourselves if we are still having these assumptions of what an awakened person looks like. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So we must just focus on, being our high vibrational selves, and seeing that everything is to help awaken us and strengthen us and our confidence. And if we, are wanting our partners to be awoken to all of this information desperately, so then we can have someone to communicate with, our teams are sort of saying, well, I can't, what's wrong with us? You can communicate with us, go within with us, and actually have that strength of communication and connections. Because it seems like a lot of people sort of start hearing the truth. They don't know whether they should trust it or not, because there is these big senses. A lot of anxiety gets misdiagnosed, right? So if you're having huge amounts of like energy in your gut that's saying, yes, 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 this is true, this is true, this is true, but you recognize it as, oh, my gut feels funny. This is anxiety. Oh, no, I'm having a panic attack. Oh, no, this information must be the devil, or must be whatever, right? So we must be able to really be in tune with our bodies to find out what the senses are. And when we get a big rush of energy, Where is our intuition? Where is our gut senses? And if our intuition is in our gut and it's trying to like get our attention, we can misunderstand it for very many reasons. So this is why when you have your own sessions, ask, where is my intuition senses? Where do I feel it the most? Can I have an intuition sense of, yes, positive, this is good? And also, can I have an intuition sense of, oh, watch this, focus on this now, notice this? They actually are usually in two different places. And once you, as a practitioner, help your clients understand where those places are, fantastic, right? They just burst through life easily because they can trust those senses. They just think, wait, hang on, what is this? Where is my intuition here? It's fantastic, right? These sessions are so profound. It's not quite cheating because we've used our free will to empower ourselves, right? Why do it the hard way when these sessions are so easy and relaxing and spa treatments? But you know all my opinions about that. So are you going to find and relook of your own journey and what helped activate you to find your own truth? Because chances are when you go back onto your own journey and relook at the things that started activating you, there could be some new layers and some new information that you could get from that. So see how much you've grown, because when we look at our own old poems or our own influences that helped us on our journey, maybe there's still information there that we can resonate with and see it from a new perspective. So we should be focusing on empowering ourselves and having really sort of clever perspectives of how to see things in a more higher vibration and frequency. So it's fascinating times. So I can't fully express the experience of having those influences come in. To feel it. Part of them knew that they did the best they could, and they had to have this acceptance that humanity still didn't want to love itself enough to empower itself. And it's like somehow, even though they're advanced beings, somehow they kind of got this sense that maybe they had failed or they hadn't quite sort of had that profound acceptance, and they know what's to come. So they're in this deep, came into the bodies to have this deep, mournful experience of just, this should never have got to this point, and to like get over their worries or fears. I'm not quite saying this right, but to just know within themselves that they did enough, and that this is not their responsibility. It's it's the collective choices of humanity to still be distracted that is the problem here. And it was just strange. It was kind of like they were doing their inner work, and it was confusing because I was like, but you're such advanced beings now, why would you need to come down into a 3D density to kind of do some of your own inner work? And it feels like, so what the sort of response was, and what they showed me was, Jesus already sort of forgave the people that didn't trust his information and couldn't apply it before he exited. And they're not like bitter or resentful, but they had to sort of forgive humanity for not trusting their information and applying their information, and to accept that they did the best they could. And there's a lot there. And while they weren't like judging humanity, it still feels like they had a little bit of the sense of responsibility that if they just were enough, if they just did another book, or if they just, did another appearance, or they just begged people to really take this seriously, really empower yourselves, you're so freaking important. They just have this kind of feeling that it's like there was something that was unresolved for them. So they came into the body, felt some density, showed me some sort of epiphanies, and it was a lot. It was a lot. But again, what they were saying in the session yesterday was, and I did this with the white light meditation as well, is to imagine just grabbing all this density, all this sort of like dark sort of smoke gluggy stuff. And when you're putting yourself, when you can see this beautiful pyramid of white light, I was just like stuffing all of the density into that, knowing that it was going to be transmuted. So whatever labels you want to call that, you know, do you. But I wanted to use my free will to be able to imagine just removing and clearing up and sweeping up and kind of like washing and clearing away this density, because it's out of people, it's off people, but energetically it's still around. Now, the collectives, whoever was speaking yesterday, was saying, imagine just burying it. And I know I sort of had a few conversations with people about this, and they were like, oh, I thought we should be like sending that dense energy up and, you know, to source, giving it to source. And I was like, well, that's definitely not what they were saying yesterday. So I was trying to figure out, oh, what's going on there. And it really seems like they're wanting us to sense a difference between pushing the density down, burying it under the earth, remembering you're not affecting Gaia because, you know, we know where her soul is already. This is just the vehicle, and we know that where the state of the vehicle is, right? So we're not going to do extra damage, right? Because we know that that's not sort of possible. So we're just trying to redirection the energy field down lower. So it's kind of like they're wanting us to notice the difference between high frequency vibrations and low frequency vibrations. And they're wanting us to reach that higher frequency vibrations. And I know it gets sort of convoluted because, you know, the universe is within us and blah, 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 blah. And there truly is no, the high dimensional beings aren't technically up because they could be, you know, it gets complex, right? But it's like they're wanting us to push down the dense energy beyond our feet, beyond the surface of the earth, and to be able to then raise our frequency and seek and search that higher light, that lighter feeling and all that sort of stuff. They're wanting us to remember the soul essence is just within the body, and they're wanting us to project our consciousness up and beyond our physical bodies. And so I feel like for whatever reason, if we're imagining grabbing a whole bunch of density and pushing it up, it's going to confuse, I think, the mind when we're trying to then project our because our mind's going to be like, oh no, we don't want to send our souls there because that's where we've put all this density, you know. So anyway, it's you guys do you, but it's really interesting what they're saying in sessions, and I really want to trust and apply the information from the sessions, because every time I refuse to or have thought, oh no, there must be wrong with that, you know, I've really taken the long way and journey to actually get to understand what they're saying and the significance of it. So when we trust that everything is purposeful, you know, I'm sort of lazy now. I want to just go the direct, easy route because it works for me to trust what they're saying and apply it. But, you know, that's just me. You know, everyone else can do their own sort of journey, but I'm wanting to share, this is why I share the sessions publicly, some of them, because it feels like there is so much applicable information for you too. And I know that lots of people have sessions with other practitioners and they listen to our sessions and they say, oh my gosh, yes, you wouldn't have been able to know what was in my session, Joe, and yet this was just said. And so it's like, yeah, it's not a coincidence, right? Like we're tapping into the same source, we're tapping into the same subconscious and higher selves. So, you know, it's not a coincidence, but it's great that you're getting all this confirmation and it's helping people understand their meditations and their connections so much more stronger when we just sort of hear it from another perspective. And I think that's why the series was really profound, because it was the same questions asked in 10 different to 10 different subconsciouses. And so you can hear the different perspectives of the information given and delivered, but you could hear it's the same information, the same direction. So it's just, you know, what words are you getting triggered with? What words are activating you with? It's all very purposeful. So a lot of you also have been reaching out to me to tell me that some certain interns are charging for their sessions and they're not doing them for free, even though they're still interns. And we usually sort of find this in cases where people are something like, you know, a Reiki healer or something else. And so they sort of know their self-value and worth, and they don't really just, you know, they don't want to identify that they're learning this process, right? And they sort of think, oh, if I get a little bit stuck, I'll just do some Reiki and that will save the day. Ultimately, these sessions are so profound, you don't need the practitioners to do any of their own other side hustle work. You want the subconscious to do your healing. You want your subconscious to do your channeling of the information you're seeking, and you don't want that middleman. That practitioner is simply asking questions. Right? What's next in that scene, in that lifetime? And what else are you noticing? And what happens next? And, you know, tell me more about that. You know, and then when they talk to the subconscious, they're only asking the subconscious questions, right? The open-ended questions, and the subconscious can then just, you know, mansplain your life with you, for you, about you. And it's all very profound. But I've heard way too many sessions now where practitioners are trying to do something else, and they're not asking and they're not respecting the subconscious to give the clients the answers. So, you know, interns need to be doing these sessions for free and have no other agenda apart from learning, understanding how these sessions work and unfold, and fully respecting the client and respecting the subconscious. So much to be said about that. So yes, and also don't be shy with interns, because potentially they are very advanced beings, and they're not, you know, they're not going to Forrest Gump this, or, you know, they're not going to hack it. And if it isn't very successful and they're learning, they'll never make that mistake again. So, you know, keep practicing with them, keep exploring things with them, you know, don't ghost them, you know, keep them accountable. The reason why they've done these sessions is this practitioner work is significant, and, you know, we want to support and help them. So don't be shy. And so I'm just trying to think what else. I do think that listening back to sessions again is very significant, because there's so much information that we listen to the information and then we distract ourselves with our own mindsets and our own understandings of things. And it's normal, right? But then we sort of, while we're thinking about certain things, we can't hear the next stage of the information. So really, when you're listening to these sessions, you kind of need to be focusing on them. And you'll notice the first time you've listened to something, and you start thinking about, oh, epiphanies, oh, this, me, how it all fits in, fantastic, right? And then when you go listen back to it, the next part of it, it's like listening to it for the first time, because as you're consciously actively thinking and focusing on the thoughts that are going on in your head to kind of like match up all the puzzles, you haven't been able to actively listen to the next stages of the sessions. So there is so much value of listening to the layers of information in there. And so they would say again to you, the sessions speak for themselves, and you can really hear the information. The more you grow, the more you release the density, the more high vibrational you are, the more healing you do for yourself, and the more empowerment of self that you do. These sessions are pretty profound. And I know that some of you just want to listen to them once and just keep hearing to the current stuff, but your teams are saying definitely go back and re-listen to once, even if you think you've listened to them again. And do what I do with books. I never start at the beginning. I just open up somewhere in the middle. And so, you know, open up a session and then just don't start from the beginning. Start somewhere in the middle or towards the end or something. You be guided to find the right session and then the right part of the session, and only listen for 15 minutes or whatever you've got, but focus on that time that you're listening. Because if you're not actively listening, it's just in the background, you're going to miss the significances of it. So, you know, that's just my opinion, but I'm hearing the same information many times from clients that this is what they've found. So, you know, I know it to be true. But it's a lot, right? Sometimes we just want to use this information as just a hobby and, you know, and not really apply it. And, you know, it's too much. And we just want to really enjoy 3D still, because we can't comprehend the shift. We don't want to comprehend the shift, quite frankly. You know, getting through the old earth experience sounds, you know, very hectic and chaotic. And it is. It has to be. for that purpose and significance for those people to grow from. So then this will never happen again on any other planets, to any other civilizations. Significant, right? And while it feels like it's punishment, it's not. There is truly no punishments in the universe. It is all experiences and lessons. So anyway, and yes, their focus is very determined right now. Very determined. So when you connect into them, they've got this urgency, this drive, this get on with it, you know. I think because from their perspective, it's so easy to love each other and empower yourself and trust yourself, that they're just like, okay, well, you've been doing that for 50 years. Come on now, you know, stop that habit and routine and get up and go, 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 go. And I know lots of people don't like to be pushed like that. And so this is why I sort of feel like when they're trying to say you can't be taught, you can't be taught how to do your inner work, because we don't like to be forced to be learning anything or doing anything, right? It all has to be something we want to seek and search out, and we have to use our free will and our choices to want to seek information. I saw somewhere someone trying to say that the universe was saying that they were doing too much of their inner work and awakening too fast. Okay, so that's interesting. It's definitely a perspective, but I would love to hear what this actual session said to be able to hear it properly. Because if you're going too fast, you know, you and the universe is saying slow down, you're missing some really crucial inner work points. And so you're sort of skipping ahead. And I know we can be super balanced and neutral with everything, and just be like, oh, cool, I'm not triggered by anything. I don't have any fears. I'm fully in love, blah, 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 blah. Fantastic. But you haven't looked at any of your inner work to get you to those lessons of being at peace. And so while you just accept shit happens, potentially, you haven't gone back and fully healed, reflected, forgiven, been grateful to those lessons. And so those lessons are still sort of waiting for you in your spiritual closet, wanting to be unpacked. And it's so easy. You can do it within minutes, you know, really is. But yeah, it's very interesting times, very interesting times. So it's always going to be very profound when you can channel the information yourself. And for me personally, to be profoundly activated to channel, I had to do quite a few of these sessions to be able to open up this and strengthen this muscle or this trust or whatever this gateway was and is. And, you know, I can tell when people are channeling their egos, and it's not very impressive, and it's kind of belittling to them and their followers, because it's very low perspective. But they don't get it because they just think that they're amazing. And so again, what is their agenda? What motivates them to do such things? Because it's very easy to get the higher perspective, the true higher perspective, and to be able to actually channel high dimensional beings. Anyone that's sort of channeling now and saying all is well and there's going to be no traumas and it's all just going to be sunshines and roses, that's cool. That's all they can handle, you know. But we are prepared to be able to be balanced and neutral for whatever is to come, understanding that this is for other people's lessons, to be able to really, really stop them in their tracks and to really notice what's truly important, truly important. And in all honesty, what's truly important is your own life experiences and all of the people that are around you. It's people that are important, not labels, not financial statuses, nothing actually really materialistic. It's people. And so if you're not motivated to support and love and empower people around you, including yourself, then we've still got time to figure out how that works and what that looks like. You know, there's so much density going along and around people at the moment. You know, we want to do our part and kind of sweep up that density so they don't try to draw it back into themselves, because they still have got that routine habit to go into a loop cycle and start being self-destructive again, because they still don't know how to heal themselves. They don't even know that that's their responsibilities. So so much to be said. Anyway, I love you guys. Enjoy going through those true influencers information. Be inspired with their work. They're really proud of their information because they know how profound it is. And, let's honor all of those pioneers and those people that were of service to help humanity. They asked us to, so why not do it? It's profound. Their lives were very challenging for many ways, so let's honor them, honor their life contracts, and respect all.